Hey, Cafe Crew, it's Colin Smith here, and I've got something really important to talk to you about today. Those of you who know me and have been following me for a while know that I'm not an activist and I don't get involved in these kinds of things. But one of the things I really want to talk to you about today is something that is really important, and that is net neutrality. Ever since the internet started, it's always been a level playing field. That means if you have a good idea, or you've got some great information, you make a good video, whatever it is, you make great content, you put it up there, and your content has equal weight with the big guys. So that means if you're a small business and you start, a great idea, you can compete against those bigger companies because it's a level playing field. That means that everybody's heard equally. No ISP is allowed to put more preference on your traffic or their traffic, etc. So net neutrality is it treats all internet traffic equal. Let me put the internet in terms that you might understand. It's a restaurant. You sit down at the restaurant, you pull out your menu, you decide what you want to eat, you give your order to the waiter. The waiter goes out, goes into the kitchen, and says, you know what? This guy wants to get pasta. The chef cooks the pasta, the waiter brings it to you, and you eat it. Okay. This is the same way. Now, in the kitchen is the person that creates the content. It could be you with a blog. It could be an entrepreneur or a small company starting up who are creating a new invention. And now, in order for people to get that, the first thing they need to do is they need to see it on the menu. So the people come in, the people are the end users on the computers. They see the menu, they say, oh, that item looks good, I'd like to order that. Well, that menu, of course, would be a search engine like Google. They find it, I'd like that. Then they want to tell their waiter, hey, I want access to that, please. And their waiter would be like their ISP or the internet service provider. That would be Cox, Verizon, AT&T, etc. The people that give you your internet in your home. So they go out, they go to the kitchen, and they grab that content, and then they bring it back to you, and you consume it. So it's exactly the same way. So there's two parts. There's a web hosting company, which is where all the content lives, which is the kitchen. There's the end user, which is you, as well as maybe you're also the creator. And then the waiter would be your ISP. Now, imagine if you go into the restaurant, and this does happen in some restaurants. I don't know if you've ever had this happen. It's a little bit frustrating, right? You go into the restaurant, and you need a table. Okay. Yeah, eventually you get a table, and you're sitting down. No, somebody more important than you sits down next to you at the table. The next table. Suddenly the waiters are all running around giving them all the attention, and you want to order your meal, but you have to wait because they're more important than you, or they're richer, or whatever it might be. Okay. Well, what if you ordered a steak, and you're like, man, I'm waiting for my big juicy steak, and then some rich guy comes and sits next to you and orders a steak, and the kitchen's only got one steak left. Guess where that's going to go? Now, you wouldn't think that was very fair, would you? Okay, well, let's imagine that on the internet. Wouldn't you think there should be some kind of a law to protect you from that happening? Like you're ordering your lunch and someone else is eating your lunch. This is no oversimplification. Net neutrality is Title II of the Communications Act. And that is put in place to protect you where you will be treated equally as everybody else. All internet traffic is treated equally. That means that a company, say like myself, and this is the reason I'm making this video, because I feel very strongly about this, because I owe my livelihood, I owe my living to the internet. I used to work for somebody else, and I didn't really like working for that person, but I didn't have any choice. I had to just do that. That was my job. I grew up in a world where you went to school, you got an education, you got a job, And then hopefully you could stay in that job as long as you could. If they fired you or you got laid off, you'd go and try and find another job. But you're always dependent on somebody else. Thanks to the internet, I was able to make my own business, Photoshop Cafe. I was able to start that, and that's become a full-time business, which provides me all my income, which I live from. The harder I work, the better I do. And not just that, but also I hire other people. I hire contractors, I hire staff, and people like that. We make our living from the internet. And what do? We just, my first website, it cost me nothing. I built it myself. I launched it myself, and very, very low cost to get started. Now, I started creating content. I worked very, very hard creating a lot of tutorials, learning and sharing and doing. And then over a course of time, people began to find the content. People liked the content. They told their friends about it. They shared the content. And before you know it, Photoshop Cafe became big and popular. Now, I started Photoshop Cafe in the year 2000. And I was able to compete with whoever I wanted. I wasn't even thinking about competition, to be honest. I was just thinking about creating content to help people. And I wasn't even trying to start a business. I was working as a designer. I didn't really need to be doing that for my business. I was doing freelance work and doing just fine. Because of the internet, I was able to find clients. I was able to grow my business. And at the same time, Photoshop Cafe took off. And then I would get emails. I'd be really excited to check my emails. And suddenly a publisher asked me to write my first book. I wrote a book. And every day I would check my email. I'd be excited to see what opportunities would come. It'd be a magazine or whatever it is. And all these opportunities started coming through my email, through the website. And before I know it, I was able to build a business. And that was because it was a level playing field. And one of the things I love about it is the fact that, wow, I could go head to head with the big magazines. I could go head to head with the big networks. And you know what? I had an equal voice that would be heard. And if my content was better, guess what? I could outdo the big guy, little me with no resources or very, very limited resources. Now that's exciting. And that's the world we live in today. Today we live in that world where you can start your own business. You can chase your own dream. If you can conceive it and you're willing to put in the sweat equity and you're willing to work hard, you can succeed without having to work for somebody else, without having to work for that system. And, it's like the Matrix, Since I've been free and working for myself for a long time, it's a different world. I have freedom. Yes, I got to work hard and I've got to get things. I've got responsibilities and all this stuff, but I don't answer anybody but you. Because you're my audience, you're the end user or the consumer of the content that I create. And I need to make sure I'm creating content that you want to consume. And that's my only concern. But all of that is about to change if we don't do something. Net neutrality protects people like you and people like me from the big guys. It protects us from the ISPs, such as Verizon, AT&T, whatever, to be able to dominate us and use their resources to push us out. So net neutrality provides protection for me and some of you who create content. We have the ability to compete. Now, if that goes away, then what will happen is the companies with the big money can come along. Their content can be inferior. It doesn't matter because the ISPs are not going to have to treat all the traffic as equal anymore. That means they will slow down websites that don't pay the toll, that don't pay the fee. And they can even block websites if they don't like their information or it competes against what they're doing. So imagine back in the day, AOL. AOL was like the internet on trainer wheels. The only content you got was the content that AOL decided they were going to curate and let you have. And that's where we will be again if net neutrality goes away. Well, how's that? Because then the big companies are going to pay money to get their content delivered to you quickly. The small companies that are not going to be able to afford that, their content is going to be slowed down to a point where people won't want to watch the videos or read the content. So there's basically 4 things we deliver on the internet: is words, pictures, video, and sound. I'm sure there's other things too, but those are the main things. And what do we use the internet for? We use it for business, we use it for entertainment, we use it for research and communications. Now, all of these will be controlled by the ISP if net neutrality goes away. So the spin that they're putting on it right now is they're saying that the government is regulating it. Let's let go of the regulation and free up the internet. But the truth of the matter is they're lying to you, because the internet right now is equal and free. Freedom of speech, First Amendment, all that stuff is there right now. We have that. Net neutrality protects us. That gives us that. If that goes away, it doesn't take regulation and, the government's taking their hands off the internet. It's actually going to give them more control, because the ISPs are going to be able to control which content you see, how fast it is, and what they want to block. They can block whatever they want. These big companies, the big telecommunications companies, have been trying to get rid of it for a long time, because there's a lot of money they can make. They can charge premiums to the companies, and they can also charge premiums to you for watching it. So these things that you enjoy, like Netflix, YouTube, email, playing games on your Xbox, doing messaging on your phone, FaceTime, all these things, they're going to be able to control all this. They're going to make you pay a premium to watch these and also block the stuff they don't want. They tried to do this before, and in the year 2015, some of you might be involved. I was involved. 3.7 million of us made our voices heard, and then Section 2 of the Communications Act was signed, guaranteeing net neutrality. Now, the new FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, who actually is a former Verizon lawyer, go figure, is now pushing to get rid of net neutrality. He's pushing very hard and got a lot of momentum. In fact, on December the 14th, they're going to have a vote to get rid of net neutrality. And unless we do something, that will be gone, and we'll lose that freedom forever. And if that goes through, the beautiful thing we call the internet, the freedom of information and everything that we love about it, is going to be gone. So we've been cutting the cable in masses, going to Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, because we want the freedom to watch what we want when we want without having to buy these bloated packages. Well, guess what? If net neutrality goes away, the net neutrality is protection for the people. Remember, net neutrality is a good thing for us. It's a bad thing for those big businesses. They want to get rid of it so that they can take the internet and sell us bundles like that. So all the things you enjoy for free right now, you're going to be paying extra for. There's going to be a video package. So right now, here's your thing. It's going to be an extra $10 a month to have access to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. Although, if they have competing properties, you might not have access to Amazon or some of these other places. And this has happened. ISPs in the past have blocked things like FaceTime, have slowed down things like Netflix. It's happened. Do a little research and you'll see. And because of the net neutrality laws, they were told they couldn't do that, and they had to open that up to everybody. Now, this has happened before in Portugal. In fact, right now in Portugal, they're getting around the net neutrality laws, and you can see what it looks like. Everything's sold in a package. You want email? That's a package. You want to do gaming? That's a package. Smart home? I don't pay a subscription for my smart home. I have lots of devices. That will change. You want to just surf the web and do social media? Oh yeah, there'll be a social media package for that as well. So the thing is, this is going to affect everybody. And I've been very careful in this video, and maybe you've noticed, to not politicize this. Because this is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. Because this is going to affect you as a Republican, an independent, a Democrat. Doesn't matter who you are. This is going to affect us all equally. We're all going to lose the freedom on the internet. And once that's gone, I'm telling you right now, we're never going to get it back. It'll be gone. So we need to do something. And guess what? We can. And there's two things that you can do. One, send a letter or a call to the FCC. And the second one is contact your congressperson and let your voice be heard. And in fact, I've got links underneath where you can quickly and easily do that. Plus, I'm giving you links to all the sources and a lot more information here. So I want to tell you about the deal that the FCC's got going on with these telecommunications companies to get rid of net neutrality and fill their pockets with money. New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman started investigating all these comments. Because, there's comments for and against. Like I said earlier on, 3.7 million comments to keep net neutrality or bring stronger net neutrality in. So they were monitoring the sites, and they found hundreds of thousands of fraudulent, fake comments from people. These are the people that are saying, yes, we agree with them, let's get rid of net neutrality. And they found out that the majority of these people making these comments were actual identity theft. We're talking hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers and people from other parts of the country. They had their names and addresses used fraudulently with fake comments supporting the FCC. Now, the Attorney General from New York has found these to be fake. And so what would they do? Of course, they contacted the FCC and said, let's investigate. And that's how it's supposed to be done in the law. You contact the agency being affected, and you go through the investigation process. So what happened? Crickets and tumbleweed. So they contacted them again. And again. And again. And again and again and again and again and again. 9 times. And the FCC still has not responded. So the Attorney General wrote an open letter to the FCC, which I will also link there, and you can see it, directly from the Attorney General himself and the commissioners of New York. The FCC is silent. The FCC is working with these companies to get rid of net neutrality so they can control the internet, they can control what you watch, and they can charge you more money and make more profits. All right, so I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories about this at all. Notice I'm just giving you just facts. I'm not taking one side or the other politically. I'm just giving you the facts of what's happening. We need to act now. If you don't send letters, emails, phone calls to the FCC and to your congressperson, this is going to pass and you're going to say, I wish I did something about it. Now is the time we can actually do something about it. And I'm giving you the tools in these links underneath. Click those links and follow those things. Look at more information. Do your own research. Don't even trust what I'm saying is true. Do your own research and then act accordingly. We need to act quickly before it's too late and they take our internet away from us. It's not like they're going to take our internet away. We're still going to have an internet, but the problem is it's going to cost us more money and we're not going to be able to watch everything that we want. Some of it's going to be censored, some of it's going to be slowed down, and the people that pay the most money, the big companies, whether their content's good or not, is the content that is going to be featured and is the content that you're going to be able to access. And that's going to be it, guys. So, for example, if you're a small business and you want to start a business, you might not be able to compete because you're not going to have the resources, and the big guys can just push you out by buying faster internet and possibly even paying the ISPs to block you entirely. This is possible. So for example, YouTube. We're watching YouTube right now. YouTube started in a garage, and they were able to compete against Google Video because of net neutrality, because the fact that their videos were delivered to the same people at the same speed, and guess what? The content was better. People voted for the better content. So if we lose net neutrality, it's going to cost us more. We're not going to have access to everything we want. We're also going to lose quality of content and programming unless you're prepared to sit there and watch grindingly slow speeds. Yeah. So it might actually inhibit our abilities to make a living on the internet. If this thing goes through, myself and lots of other people might be forced to go work for the man again. So anyway, guys, I hope I didn't offend anybody. I hope it didn't upset anybody. All I'm trying to do here is inform you, because, I don't want to get political, and I don't want to become an activist. That's not the purpose of this channel. The purpose of this channel is to give you information, is to help you learn, to teach you about Photoshop, Lightroom, Adobe products, technology, drones, different things like that. These are the things I love, and these are the things I want to share. And I want to continue to share these things with you. So please stand with us, and let's stand against these tyrants in authority that want to take away our freedom. And so, guys, here's to a free internet, and here's to many, many, many years more of me coming to you, from my home. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, add a comment, and until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.